What's up, guys? We were a little late there. We had some technical difficulties, of course. This is the first time we've had someone stream from their own setup, I guess. I'm not actually logged into the account, so what I'm saying might be slightly delayed to the chat. Can you guys hear me all right, too? Okay, so I'm going to play the whole thing for you. That was just the strings, just so we had something going while people were coming in. This has been just kind of sitting on my hard drive for a while, and it's been probably over 2 years, really, since I've jumped back into this theme. I had a lot of hopes for it. We recorded a live vocalist for it. We've got all that on here. I'll show you. So first of all, big thanks to Beyond Skyrim for letting me hijack the channel for a few hours. If you are not subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that. If you're already subscribed and you have not hit the little bell, make sure you do that because you don't want to miss any future videos. So, of course, I got to do a little recruitment call for anyone. If you're interested in joining, I'll post some links down here in the chat. You can just head over and apply. If you do not think you have the chops to do it, you can join the Arcane University. Head on over to the Beyond Skyrim Discord channel and tell people you want to join. And they'll point you in the right direction. They'll teach you. So I'm going to shoot for probably 2-ish hours today. I'm going to play the whole thing for you. I'm going to tease you and keep talking so you get impatient. And then I'm going to play it for you. And then I'm going to kind of break down what's going on in it. Kind of nerd out with some music stuff. And then there's some changes I want to make to it also. Some pretty big changes. And I don't know if we'll have quite enough time to get to that. I would like to do more. Yeah, it's definitely advertising the AU. I would like to do more of these streams in the future. Obviously, we're not going to spam this channel with live streams of music stuff. So if that's something, if you guys find this interesting in the end, head on over to my channel too, and you can subscribe there, and that'll kind of give me an idea if you guys found this interesting or is it super boring. I think it'll be interesting though, and you guys feel free to ask questions if you want. I see there's a whole bunch of the other composers in the chat. They'll be able to ask questions for you too. It'll be kind of hard for me to keep up on the chat since it looks like there's a few people here. So, all right, here is the theme as it sits right now. All right, so that's what we got so far. Yeah, there's a few people here. So that's about 2 years old now, and it's about time I get back to working on this. And I figured it might be a little exciting to do it on a live stream. Um, for those of you who are new, just joined, my name's Eric Gordon Berg. I'm the composer for Beyond Skyrim Morrowind. I've also teamed up with Alex Jordan from Iliac Bay to work on Roskria. I also wrote the original theme for the Dev Diary, as well as the podcast theme for the UESP. I also did the latest release trailer for Tamriel Rebuilt. So I've been kind of making my way around the Elder Scrolls community. So we're going to go through this and I'm going to show you what's going on here, what the plan is. So the beginning of this track, of course, starts with the old school Morrowind theme. And the string part is copied pretty much exactly as it was. Now, one thing to keep in mind too, so this template that I'm using for this project is slightly newer, and it's causing some of these notes to sound slightly early or late. Just know that I'm aware of that will be fixed. There's when you're working on a big project like this, at least my workflow, I don't spend too much time making things perfectly on beat and on time while I'm writing. I try to kind of focus on just the writing. There's going to be flaws all over this, especially because I'm soloing things and showing you guys what it sounds like without everything else, and that's going to reveal some of its flaws. So that's the beginning part. Now the vocals, make sure I got the right one here. I believe it's this guy. Okay. So this was really interesting because a while back I made a post on Reddit looking for some musicians who might be interested in adding live instruments and things, posted on Craigslist, and I actually even went and spoke at a college to try and recruit some people, and I got a couple responses, and the first one was from this engineer named Ingram, and this was from downtown Minneapolis, and he worked at IPR, and he was generous enough to offer free recording sessions, which was just amazing, right? Well, then I get this other email from this vocalist named Chrissy Taylor, and she talked about how she wanted to be, have her voice in things like Skyrim, and it was something that she had kind of dreamed of. So she sent me a resume, and she was really good. She said she toured around like Italy and crazy things like that. So this is her vocal for the intro that we recorded. Yeah, she can get. Just wait until you hear how high she gets at the end. It's pretty ridiculous. Um, so that's more or less just copying the original theme, right? The only thing that I really changed, I don't know if you noticed it, was right here. I added kind of a little rhythmic change thing. It's more noticeable in the brass, but this is what it sounded like with the strings. Okay. So that's it for that section. And then you take your brass, and I wrote this very simple. It's just 5 parts. I didn't do any individual lines or anything like that across sections. So in the beginning, you get the French horns come in. And that's actually playing underneath the flutes. I think there's a clarinet part in there too. But there's some flutes playing there, and the French horns they're more just adding thickness and color in the background. When you listen to the theme, the main thing you're hearing is the woodwinds there, but those horns just add this extra bit behind it, which we'll show you in a little bit. But then you get the whole brass section coming in, and they start to form the chords, and this kind of creates this feeling that something is about to change. Brass is totally the best. I don't know why. I just love it. So you're just forming chords underneath, and the trumpets are the highest in the section. So they're taking that melody and they're doubling up with that vocal. So the vocals, this orange right here, this is the trumpet line. The vocals, if you listen, are actually just following the exact same thing. There, you can hear some more of those timing issues that'll be fixed later on. There is also a harp, and I bet you can't guess what the harp does, but it does the exact same thing. It's really quiet. Yeah, so that's obviously too quiet in this this case. It'll be fixed later on. Like I said, it's a new template, and I think when I wrote this, I was using a different harp library. Okay, so the intro drum, where is that? Oh, I haven't even put it in yet. Let's see. I think I have the preset saved, so we'll drop that drum in there real quick and see. I tried to imitate the Skyrim drum. Where are my presets? They're not here. All right, that's okay. We don't need to worry about that too much right now. But if you listen in I'll just play the recorded version, the drum at the beginning. Um, so it's almost identical to the original Morrowind theme, the Skyrim theme that is, with the drum in the beginning. So I tried to copy the sound of the Skyrim drum rather than the Morrowind drum, just to kind of blend them together to make it still feel like it's Skyrim, not Morrowind. So that's that for you. Okay. Some of this other. So there's a flute. Let's move this flute up there quick. Can you guys still hear everything all right? Are the levels okay? All right, let's find this flute quick. All right. So what we've got in the Woodwinds. So there are two flute parts. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask and keep up with the chat. All right, here. So the main woodwind part just follows that same melody, right? So that's the one flute, right? And then I have a different library that's playing the exact same thing, but it gives it a little bit more expression. It sounds a lot more like the original Morrowind theme. And that's this. So then when you put them together, I might have to blend the levels here a little bit, but when you put them together, it sounds like this. Okay, sounding pretty good, right? Well, then we put this other line underneath. And these are not, I'll just get rid of that. They're not actually playing in octaves. Okay, so you get the second line that comes under. And that, again, the role of something like that isn't necessarily to be picked out with your ear and heard like that. It's just adding texture to it. So it just kind of gently sits underneath and adds that woodwind sound. And yeah, there's definitely, so when this is kind of going over its final touches. There will be longer gaps, of course, between notes. Like, for example, that's not all going to be played in one breath, you know. But at this stage of things, there's no point in going through and tweaking all these tiny little details to just come back later and realize you're not even going to have that part. You have to write a whole new part or whatever, you know. So just know that there are imperfections all over this thing. They're everywhere, and that's normal in the process like this. And even maybe the whole way through, when you throw all these instruments on there, yeah, if you solo it out, it might sound fake, but with everything playing on top of it, you're not necessarily going to hear all of those minor little details. Definitely helps. Definitely would recommend doing it. But so then we move on to the clarinet, and that's playing the exact same thing as that flute. It's also pretty quiet as it is. That'll change in the end. Okay. So if you remember earlier, that point where the rest of the brass section came in, that same thing happens with the woodwinds, except you get a second clarinet and the oboes start to come in. I think they start a little bit sooner, but same concept, right? So there's two oboes, and they're both playing in unison, exact same thing, and they're kind of doing the same role. They're just there for added texture. Ooh, that is not supposed to be there. Okay, so that is from my new template. The key switches got moved around. Let's get that stupid Apple thing out of there. Get off my screen. There we go. Okay. Or what do you guys think? Should we just leave it in there like that? Here's how it sounded again. It's pretty good, isn't it? All right, we're going to change that. We're going to go some shorts. Okay, that's better. And now I'm guessing the clarinets are going to have a similar issue. Yep. This is the pains of having a template that's everything works together. You change one thing and it throws everything off. Okay, so that little part though, where it was freaking out and making something similar to horror music, is that variation I was talking about that I added. It's just kind of a rhythmic little change to spice things up. So with the whole woodwind section now, there should be a bassoon part for here. I must not have finished it because it comes in later, so I'll probably end up adding a bassoon part. Okay, and then I think the only thing we haven't covered is the percussion. And there's a couple tracks I hadn't moved over yet. We're just going to leave those out for now. It's just the big drums in the background. So we've got some little cymbal hits in there, here and there, to kind of, cymbals really accent. Okay, and now you got two drums, two snare drums, just playing a little beat. And the snare sounds a bit strange without those other drums in there to accent along with it, but we'll keep moving on. We'll get to the original stuff. Last thing is there's a little glockenspiel and some things. That didn't even play for some reason. Oh, different patch. Okay, we won't worry about that then. We'll get moving on to the next part. So after that intro, everything else in the theme is original except for the very end, which is like the Skyrim outro thing that I kind of replicated. It's not 100% identical, but it's close. So after the end of that intro, it changes, gets a little more peaceful. So you come in with these strings, and as you just heard, the woodwinds are going to be the focus, but what's going on in the strings here is the basses are playing this pizzicato rhythm, right? They're keeping the rhythm going just by jumping up in octaves. Let me change that, because that was not the right. There we go. Okay, that's all they're doing. They're just keeping the rhythm going, and that's going to make us really feel that 6/8 change there. And then you take your violas and your cellos. Yeah, it's very subtle, but I went with the pizzicato to. There's quite a bit of it in the original Morrowind soundtrack, so for that, right away, I thought was a good choice. Kind of bring back that nostalgia very subtly underneath. It's a lot softer than just a short, quick bowing, so it lets it sit. It kind of tells you that things are settling down a little bit. It gives you a break from if it's all just epic theme music the whole way through. It's just, you get a minute and a half in and you're like, okay, where is this going? So we've got this cello line, right? Just moves up and down. So this part's got kind of two little movements to it, right? It's got this first one, and then it's got this like little emotional drama at the end of it. Okay, so the higher strings, the violins and the violas, they're just they're supporting the rhythm a little bit so that the woodwinds can take the lead here. And these strings are playing, they're just kind of playing tones from the chords. Like, I kind of wanted you to feel them more than hear them. You know, you just feel the thickness of the string section rather than actually picking out a particular melody other than with the cellos. Okay, and then we move on to the strings, and this is where it gets interesting. So you have two flutes and an oboe. So there's an oboe and a flute underneath the first flute, right? And they're playing that little. And those notes will naturally fade out a little bit more in the end too, as right now they're kind of just, they sound pretty fake. They're just sitting there. So that plays really nicely with the cellos and basses, because this gap here is filled with that cello line, and the basses continue underneath, right? So it sounds like this. Yes, this is Logic. And then it repeats, it does the same thing, but then it transitions into that little dramatic emotional thing, right? And then the clarinets are playing throughout that as well, just adding some more color and things. And then at the end here, it plays a little harmony with the flutes. And it sounds like this. Let me solo those. As you can tell, this needs a lot of mixing and things. That'll probably, well, maybe not, because so that forms that harmony, right? And then this next flute comes in, and this is that one that I added earlier that gives the bit more character to it, and it comes in like this. Right? It's a fun little melody. Now, if we go, there's a harp throughout this too. I don't even remember what this does. Let's look at it. Probably won't be able to hear it. Okay, I like that. So yeah, that's just adding a supporting role again. You'll notice that's a theme with this kind of music. It's all just instruments supporting each other and staying out of the way and coming back in at the right times. So that also helps with that old school Morrowind sound, right? Lots of flutes and harps and things like that. And then when you solo all of those together, you get this. Okay, and then that's where the next part starts. So after that, it kind of changes into the build section where we get to the climax where the the soprano vocal comes back in and all that stuff. So you finally get the bassoons now too. And they come in some reason that one's not playing the first couple bars. I'll have to fix that later, but so they will be playing the same thing through there, and then they split. And I don't even remember what this sounds like, so we're gonna listen to it together. And that key switch is wrong. Okay, 1 second here. Let's switch it. Oh, this is a mess. Okay, so it looks like it's switching between staccato shorts and longs. Not longs, but longer. Okay, let's see if that fixes it. Okay, so that I like that. That's cool. I'll probably change this in the future. There's no reason to have them one playing shorts an octave above. That's just gonna sound messy. So I'll change that in the future. But for now, you probably won't really notice much. Yeah, it's harp. Harp gives some Oblivion vibes too. It's really good for any fantasy music, honestly. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying this, make sure you, if you're not subscribed to Beyond Skyrim, make sure you subscribe to them, um, and hit the bell too if you haven't done that. And if you want to see more of this stuff, I'll probably continue it on my channel. You can head over there and subscribe if you want to see more kind of behind the scenes stuff. I would like to do more of this. Okay, so let's see what our clarinet's got going on here. Looks like they're doing the same thing as well. This is the tedious part of programming. So now you can hear that clarinet come in there, and that adds a lot more interest to that line. So as that's kind of building up, the interesting stuff is happening in the strings and the brass. You get these flutes, and actually it's just flutes. 4 flutes. Now this is the fun part, because this is when the vocalist comes back in. Right? And she's got this line that sounds like this. Okay, now let's check out the strings, because we're about to get to the best part. It is awesome seeing all of you guys in the chat, by the way. All right, so there's a really key part to this, right? And that's when the basses switch from long bowings to short bowings. And you can hear that, right? It happens right here at bar 53. Yeah, the vocals come in really hard there, but you'll see once the brass and the brass and the percussion come in. So you got those basses switching, and then they're moving away from the cellos for a while there. And then on the cellos, I'm actually proud of this little programming. I'm gonna nerd for a second here. So if you don't know how this kind of stuff works, right? These little blue blocks, if you haven't figured out by now, are notes, and they can be different techniques for the instrument. And that's what these little ones on the bottom here are. These are switching the type of articulation that's being played. And right here is all the different articulations for these instruments, right? So if I play this, right, that's a soft sustain on the cello. Okay, if I go up here, this is faster, a more immediate bowing with vibrato, right? Or if I want to play a trill, right? Or if I want to play tremolo. And then there are also short ones. Shorter. And shortest, okay? So you have to take the time to go in here and change those throughout to make it sound like it's a real instrument, not done on the computer. So throughout this one section, I have 3 different tracks for this cello performance. And each one is using different articulations throughout. So we're going to expose how bad this probably actually is when I solo it. So you can hear when it hits these notes right before the next bar, it's a longer bowing, but it still has that accent on it, right? Things start to pick up. Okay, we'll start picking up the pace now here. We'll get to the fun stuff. So as it kind of builds up, it starts to move back down as like a last little breath, sort of, before the actual main theme comes in, right? So I'll play that whole section from the end of the Nervar Rising part. Okay, so now we get to the good part. Yeah, this theme plays in, I don't know, it's got to be at least 10 songs. Even if it's just like one subtle little line, it is everywhere in this soundtrack. And that's the part we're about to play. Um, so, another shameless subscribe advertisement. Make sure you guys hit the bell on this channel if you want to see when any new videos drop out. Okay. If you haven't joined our Discord, I'll put that in the chat. You can go over there and join. There's tons and tons of stuff posted every single day. Things from concept art to writing to level design screenshots, things that don't even get posted on Twitter or Facebook or sometimes Instagram. So make sure you go over and you join that server. You can also go check out my channel. I'll put that in there if you want to see more stuff like this. All right, now to the fun stuff. So this main theme, right, it follows, I'll just play the vocals. So this was cool, right? So I talked to the project directors a couple years ago, and I was like, hey, I want to start working on this main theme or whatever. What do you guys think? And I was told that's totally fine as long as we incorporate the language of the Dunmer, right? So that's what I did. I took some of the language and I had to incorporate it to fit my melody, right? And then when I went downtown and had this recorded, I got to just sit next to this massive recording console that makes this setup look terrible, right? And I just sat there for like 3 hours while this professional vocalist stood on the other side of the glass and just sang my music, right? It was ridiculous. So this is how it turned out with the lyrics. So that's it right there. I was, as far as the lyrics, I was, in the language, I was given a sheet that had both of the, it had it in that language, and then it also had the English version underneath it. So I was able to actually make it fit, and very luckily it just worked out. I don't know what I would have done if it just like ended up ending in the middle of a sentence or something. Obviously it was only a small section of what I was given, but it worked out, and I think it turned out pretty good. So that's the main focus right there. Okay. Now the strings come in and they're just adding this dramatic support, right? Let's find where we are. I think it's right here. Okay. So right here's the top of the, yes, it just works. This is the top right here where it comes down and then that note's held out and then she comes in right here. Okay, so that's the strings right there. And as you can see, it starts down low down here, and throughout it just kind of works its way up. And there's all kinds of spots where the basses could drop out, right? Which looks kind of weird on here, but when you hear it, actually, now that I look at that, I wonder what this would sound like. I wonder if this will sound better. I do actually like that a little bit more. I think I'm going to keep that. So you hear throughout this, the basses are really kind of driving things forward. It's really subtle, but it keeps things moving. You know, it's going up and down. It's not just holding single notes throughout. Apple, get out of here. It's not just holding single notes. You know, it's playing its own line. Cellos are playing their own line. They're going up and down, and it all just kind of worked out in a way that it creates this movement without feeling too chaotic or muddy or random. At least I think so. So you get to your woodwinds now. This is where we get that Morrowind sound again. All right, we got some articulations going weird here, so I'm just gonna fix that so you don't have to suffer through it. I think it's the bassoons that are causing problems. And again, if you weren't here earlier, I moved this to a more updated template, and in doing so, some of my articulations got moved around and things. You can't see it, but right over here I've got a it's one of those like beat pads people use for making hip hop and stuff. But I reprogrammed the buttons to activate these key switches. So rather than having to transpose my keyboard down or find it through here, I can just reach over and press this button. And because I've reset that, these key switches are all out of whack. Okay, that's some kind of short. What? Let's take a guess here. Let's try that. Oh, one of these is off time too. You know, we're not gonna mess with the bassoons right now. I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. I'll just mute them for now. We don't need to play around with key switches for 20 minutes. If that's gonna bore me, it's definitely gonna bore you. Okay, so the woodwinds kind of follow. They're all, man. I did some weird things on this. I don't know why I did it this way. So I added this little up and down thingy, right? And I've noticed that you hear a lot of this in the Elder Scrolls soundtracks. And I just kind of threw it in there because I thought it sounded like the Elder Scrolls, and I liked it. So it's this little flute thing right here. Oh, you can't get the whole thing yet. You gotta wait. Yeah, these oboes aren't even playing in their range. I don't know what happened there. So we'll just skip on to the brass. But basically the woodwinds are doing the same thing they've been doing for most of this track, which is just adding color, adding that Elder Scrolls sound. So the brass is where it gets fun, though. So you've got a tuba, a bass, trombone, 2 trombones, 4 French horns, 3 trumpets. And each of them are all playing... It's like all the trumpets are playing the same thing that the other trumpets are playing. Great. Got some more issues. Well, you gotta wait a little longer. So these must be... What are these? So this is another part where I added multiple articulations. I think these are the marcatos. Yep, and then this is another short note. Let's try that. I cannot play hot cross buns. That's it's a little advanced for us. This can go back down there. Okay, and then here, almost done with this part. All right, let's see if that fixed it for you. Okay, and then this last part. Oops. All right. Let's take a look at it now. So this right here is the tuba, and so the tuba is the green one here. The hot pink is the bass trombone, and this nasty purple color is the trombones. So they're kind of doing the they're providing the power behind what's happening right here, right? And this guy's got to go back down. They're creating this thick sound underneath. Okay, so obviously there's a lot of programming stuff I have to fix in there, but you get the idea of what's going on there. So the interesting part though is with the French horns and the trumpets, because they're coming in and they're kind of doing somewhat of a counter melody to the main vocal. And when you take everything and you put it all together, right? I'll play the full thing for you. You get this big like emotional climax throughout it where it kind of keeps going up and down and it finally hits at the end. And I'll just start it at the beginning for new people who have come. Okay, so that's where we're at now. Now, this is where, as I said in the very beginning, there are some things I would like to change on this theme. And I don't know if I'm going to keep this entire end section, to be honest. The part that is after what you just heard. I like it, but I feel like there's other, like I feel like it's a little long. Like it builds too many times, you know. So I'll play the rest of it since you guys probably want to hear the full thing by now. Whoops. So that's the end section, and like I said, I think it fits. I think it's fine, but the only reason I'm thinking about not using it is because what if we took the beginning intro and we put it there instead, and we did like what they did on the ESO Morrowind theme, where you think it's over, right? And then that drum comes in at the end and you realize it's about to play the original theme, and then it plays that and it's over. That's kind of my thought right now, and I have something that I could use for the intro as well, but I don't know. I'm not sure what I want to do. What do you guys think? Is it too long? Is it too much? So, to give you some context, it would play this part. And then from right there, and those cymbals would keep rolling, right? And then that last note right there would hang on for a minute and it would end. That would make the overall, the length of the song would be shorter. So there would be a different build in the beginning, which would be shorter than that theme right there. And then it would jump somewhere into this. Or maybe we could skip to like right here. The full thing right now is 4 minutes and 39 seconds, which really isn't bad as far as like the Skyrim theme, I think, is over 4 minutes. There won't be a single night theme, but there are definitely tracks that are specific for nighttime. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys... Oh, here, let me show you this quick. That part where she hits super, super high. Not that kind either. And then this here is where she makes her way up. And then here. And that's real. She actually did that. Because I remember it originally, and actually in the recording I was playing, the melody goes down instead. And when we were in the studio, she I asked her, I'm like, do you think you can go higher? And I was thinking probably not, because it's really high. And she was like, yeah, I can do that. And then she just did it. So how about this? I'm gonna go for another half hour or so. Let's start chopping this thing up and moving stuff around, and let's see what it sounds like if we put that part after. If we put the Morrowind, the original Morrowind theme, after my theme. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, let's find where we are. Okay, we're gonna split all of these guys. Move them way out of the way for now. Double check that that's right. Okay, that's good. Now, let's see where this starts. Okay, now we're going to split it here. Now we'll take all these, move them there. And then let's kind of feel out how long of a pause we would want before the strings come in. Okay, I would say just a tiny bit later, like right there. Let's change this time signature. Let's try that for now. I really wish that those presets were showing up so I could get that drum in there, but I don't know why it's not. Nope. Patches, instrument. Huh. It's weird. Because I thought that if I save an instrument right here. Oh, that's why we gotta. I gotta move this folder into there. Okay. We're gonna get those big bad drums in there. 1 second here. Let's see, where is this located? User. Music. Patches. There we go. All right, now we can get those big drums. I'm going to have to redo the reverb on these. That's okay, though. Alright, so these are the two drums that I used to make it sound like that Skyrim intro. Okay, let's move that over here now. So we've got the end of the New North main theme right here. Oops, I'm too far over. It's that tiny little gap, that's why. All right, let's try and find our spot. Thank you. This desk has been really nice. The only problem is that my chair is too low, so I bought a bigger chair, and that still wasn't tall enough, so I'm sitting on not one but two giant SpongeBob pillows. Yes, you heard that correctly. All right, let's find this end. So it'll probably come in right there, and that we'll take out that first hit, right? So that when this hit right here, when you hear that, you're not quite sure what it's gonna do. If we throw that short hit before it, I feel like it's giving it away too soon. You know, you want the listener to wonder what's going on. I don't know what that flute sound is I keep hearing pop in. I don't know if you guys caught that. There it was. There's nothing on the track there. Must be some kind of glitch or something. See if that fixes it. Actually, that's the piccolo. Let's just mute that for now. We weren't even looking at this entire time. I just realized it was hidden for some reason. Okay, so I think that's a good space between the two sections, but that cymbal needs to not stop so suddenly. It needs to ring out. I wonder if I just have to extend it. Let's try that. Okay, and then on top of that, I'm going to add another cymbal in there. Let's see. I'm still getting used to these patches for this new library. Let's just see what each one has to offer. I got a keyboard under here too. There we go. This is exactly what I was picturing. So we'll back it up a little bit. Okay, I think we got it on our first take, surprisingly. One thing is I noticed is we're gonna have, I want the drum to go another time before the strings and stuff come in. Just to kind of build the anticipation a little bit. Let's try one bar, see how that works. I think we're gonna have to add a little bit more in there to kind of bridge the gap. But first, let's try and get that ending. So let's see what the Woodwinds are doing first. Okay, that's fine. We'll keep that violin going a little bit so it'll kind of fade out slowly. And that's a little too long, I think, so we'll try there. If you're a musician and you see all these time signature changes, ignore that. It's because we're moving things around right now. Cello. Okay, let's get those trumpets fading out. Wait. Okay, I think I want to include this last little line here. So we're going to keep these guys going a little bit longer. And that trumpet line, I'll spend a lot more time on that, making it more naturally come down. For now, we'll just kind of guess. Oh, there we go. I like that. So the part before it just needs to meet it in the middle. And then right there, we can change. If we change the note that cello's playing right there, it'll make it sound like it's coming to an end. Too low. Yeah, there's a flute in there too. It's not mixed properly right now, so the brass are kind of drowning everything out. The brass will be a lot more blended in there. Mostly you'll probably hear the choir, the vocals, and the flutes and the horns will kind of be the main part. The trumpets are just loud as it's sitting right now. That's a little better. No, got cut off. Try that again. And I'll stick a gap between there. Yeah, I'm using pretty much all Berlin on this. Try that. Just a little bit too late. Okay, and then we've got the French horns. We might be able to, well, yeah, we might be able to double up that line on the French horns. Unfortunately, there is no VSL being used. That's how you know I'm doing it all wrong. Let's try this. Thanks, guys. This is a lot of fun. I normally get about 6 people watching on Twitch, so this is a lot different. Definitely feel free to chime in anything you notice, or questions or suggestions or whatever. We're just kind of having fun here. I'm gonna do a little swell with the French horns. I think that'll sound cool. It'll sound a lot more realistic, as long as we can get it to sit at the right dynamics. Let's see how this sounds. I'm glad I could help. I can link my Twitch for sure. I'll put it here in the chat, but I'm trying to move more towards YouTube just because I want to get a little bit more into like tutorials and things like that. So if you guys want to support in that way, my YouTube is right there as well. Subscribing is a huge help. Also, if you're already subscribed to this channel, make sure you click the little bell too, because that'll notify you in case any releases randomly drop. And no, that's not a hint. I'm just trying to get you to click the bell. Ooh, I like that. That sounds a lot more realistic. So rather than just using a sustained sound on that French horn, it's using a pre-recorded swell performance instead of just holding a note. And it adds this. That'll add a nice finish. Look at that, they even timed out. We're using Logic Pro right now. It's an Apple only, unfortunately. And I'm using, if you do any sort of production stuff, I'm using mostly Orchestral Tools libraries. If you weren't here earlier, the choir was actually recorded. It's not a sample library. So now let's see what we can do with this bass trombone. Or wait, these are the normal trombones. We'll do that first. Let's get some key switches in there so we can match the swell. Okay, so that note's got to stop. And we'll try doubling that on the root and see how that works. If we add too many thirds and fifths, it's not going to sound like it's the end. Yeah, I like that a lot. That adds so much. So now we'll do the tuba. And I'll just copy these notes. Make it faster. Whoops. I love the tuba. I need to use it more. These headphones, they are the ATH M50s. They're Audio Technica. They're like, I think they're like $150. They're really nice. Yeah, we can try dropping that tuba and see how that sounds. For sure. Space it out and get a nice big chord. If you want to support the Beyond Skyrim project, you can join. I'll drop this in there for the Discord. I should have grabbed the link to the AU. If someone is on that has that, go ahead and drop it in there. We have the Arcane University, which is where you can, if you don't have any skills in modding, you can go there and learn and join the project. So that's one way. Otherwise, just sharing stuff, subscribing to stuff is a huge help too. I know a lot of people think that as time goes on, these things are just gonna die off, but that's just not the case. I'm just a musician, but I feel like things are moving faster than they were before. Thank you. That track was a lot of fun to work on. I knew it had to be in the soundtrack somehow. So I think what we need here now is a nice timpani hit, or even a little roll might work. So let's just play with that once. Oops, wrong track. Thank you. That's really cool. What university? So we might be able to do like a little thing, a little 2-note hit to kind of accent. But it might be hard with that swell. We might be better off just doing a roll. I think I got it, actually. That's really lucky. That doesn't happen. Nice. Very cool. Who is your favorite composer? So I think we can bring up that velocity just a tiny bit here. And then with that, I'm hearing a little bit of I want a higher note in there somewhere. I do want to stream more on YouTube for sure. But I get way more people following on Twitch than on here, and I can't stream on this channel all the time, obviously. So you can head over to my channel and subscribe if you'd like, and then maybe I can continue this work from there. Maybe I can get a regular schedule going. I'm thinking Jeremy Soule. Yeah, his music is really, really good. I'm thinking maybe that flute in there would sound really nice. Okay. We'll have to clean that up a little bit. Yeah, here's my Twitch account. Thank you. So that flute's got a little bit too much vibrato on it, I think. Let's try one of the other ones. I want to make it feel like it's kind of losing steam, not building or anything, you know. That one doesn't have enough. Oops. Just make sure I get that key switch in there. Yeah, I think that works. I'll cut it out a little early. And I want it to fade out just a little bit more. And that trumpet too, that trumpet needs to come down. So because I can't, well, I mean I could. I'm just gonna bring the volume down with MIDI. I'm gonna do it that way. That did not record properly. Let me open my control program. I got another monitor over here that you can't see, so whenever I'm just kind of standing there staring to the side, that's what I'm looking at. Oh, that got changed, that's why. I want, if I bring down this trumpet enough, it'll basically get that effect with the flute. Not that line, but kind of being the focus is what I mean. There we go, that's a little better. It's a little too quick. I don't have a set stream schedule right now, but if enough people are interested, that's something that I've always wanted to do. You know, how about this? I like your idea. How about if we have both of them play that line? Let's see what that sounds like. Bring it back up. It's not, you're not going to hear it that low. Yeah, I don't know. I think I like just the trumpet more. I just think it sounds better. One thing I've noticed that's been mentioned a lot too is that the woodwinds sound more like Morrowind than the brass, which is true. But with kind of the theme of this soundtrack, it's about, you know, rebuilding and struggling and kind of coming back to that power, if that makes sense, you know. So that's kind of why I've featured the brass in here so much, on top of I just love writing for brass. But I'm definitely trying to make a little bit of a statement with the brass. I'm aware that the more obvious choice is the woodwinds. I'm using Logic Pro. It's an Apple DAW. So if you listen to that again, that part right before that little swell, it needs to come down just a little bit. Pretty much everything does. It really depends as far as how long it takes. Depends on the type of track. Usually, I would say a full orchestral piece for the soundtrack takes me between 20 and 30 hours to finish. This music is for the main theme for the New North. It's not necessarily a trailer yet. Let's hear it again. What is that? Is that the strings that are hanging on too long? I think it is. Oh. Yeah, that's the problem. It's because they don't have that gap. That's what I'm hearing. There you go. It sounds like an ending to me. We're getting how long has it been? We're getting close to that 2-hour mark, which we'll be wrapping up pretty soon here. So let's play, since we chopped everything up. Here, let me fix the timing of the choir track, because I forgot to move it at one point, and now it's off. I'm using mostly Orchestral Tools library. Berlin strings, brass, woodwinds, percussion. I use east-west spaces, the reverb I use on all of this. I love it, but all of their other stuff I've never really used. This is a lot harder with all that stuff playing, so let me solo out the strings so I can hear her. I gotta fix the timing. I hate having to do this. It's so frustrating. Oh, I hate this so much. It's like, oh, that sounds right, and then it's not. Okay, you know what? It's really frustrating. So I'm just not gonna do that right now. Forget that. Um, let's let's play it from. I'll just play it from here, and then yeah, I don't know. That'll probably wrap things up. Is there anything else you guys wanted to see or hear? By the way, that's one of the Cyrodiil composers you're talking to. His advice is very welcome here. All right, so that's it for now. I'll have to bring right before that swell. I'll have to bring things down a little bit so it kind of meets the end of there. Because as it stands right now, it feels like that swell needs to be really powerful, but I want the whole thing to come down. The drums are so if you're talking about the big, like Skyrim drum, I've got two patches. Yeah, I can pull up some random music if you guys want to hear it too in a couple minutes here. So this is the patch I'm using for one of the drums. This is 8DO Majestica, which is the biggest waste of money library I bought because it's like $600 and all I use is a couple percussion patches. Yep, thanks for hanging out. So I've got that, and that's playing 2 notes at the same time. And then the other drum is from Action Strikes. This is a native instruments library. And this is playing, they make, I don't know if you're familiar with it, they make a lot of like loops, like trailer drum loops with this library, but they also give you the individual hits and things. And yeah, the stream should be saved to the channel once I end it. So this drum is playing and then together. Can't even really hear that other one. And then I had, before you hopped on, I had a bunch of reverb on there, but it was an old plugin and didn't load, and I just didn't put it back on yet. But that's what that sound is. And then I do have a little transient drum shaper. And that's helping it sustain a lot more. If I turn that off, let's see what it sounds like. Yeah, you just hear like that initial impact. But if I put on this shaper, it extends that wave, that hit. Yeah, definitely. It gives you like the dry up close sound. I think it could be mixed a lot better, but that's fine for now. Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to hear a track or two before I go. I don't know what would you be interested in? Yeah, you can follow me on Twitch and YouTube and all that stuff. I guess I should have said, for those of you who weren't here earlier, my name is Eric Gordon Berg. So when you see that in the chat, that's not a random person spamming their Twitch channel. That was me responding to people asking for it. So here's my Twitch. But like I said, I want to move more towards YouTube so I can do things like tutorials and walkthroughs and things like this. So there's my YouTube channel too. If you subscribe, that's a huge help. Make sure you're subscribed to the Beyond Skyrim channel too, and hit the bell if you haven't, because that'll notify you when any new videos are dropped. Yeah, if you guys want to hear some ambient stuff, I can pull that up. I've been using Logic for, I don't know, 6 years now, maybe. You learn as you go. I'm still learning new stuff all the time. Favorite track to work on so far? Let me check. Honestly, it was probably this Dwemer music that I did, surprisingly. I did not think that would be fun. I wasn't looking forward to writing the Dwemer music. And I ended up using this instrument. It's called like the Bazantar or something. And it's like this 34 or 35 string bass or something ridiculous. I'll pull that one up for you. Sounds good. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, I'll play this dungeon track for you, and then I'll probably get going. So this was, I kind of took a different approach on the Dwemer music. Like rather than just doing metal sounds and creepy dwarf sounds, um, I wanted to kind of focus more on the mysterious side, kind of like these aren't just ruins, like these used to be actual people, people lived here. Um so I wanted to focus more on the not so much as the machines and the things they built, but kind of who the people were themselves, if that makes sense. So here is one of my favorite tracks I worked on. So yeah, that was probably my favorite one, I'd say. It kind of covers all kinds of different emotions. It starts off eerie, then it's like borderline horror, then it's kind of mysterious, then it's like, I don't know, mystical fairy tale sounding, and then all of a sudden it's just like really depressing. I don't know. I could do one more, I guess. Yeah, I wanted to make, I wanted to make the dungeons feel a little more dynamic each time you play it. Like I didn't want 3 tracks that sound exactly the same. I wanted them to change. I want, for someone to walk into the dungeon and there's a creepy track playing, and as you go on, the music starts playing the less creepy stuff, and it's like it's as if you're getting used to the setting. Or other times as you get in there, maybe it's a little more relaxing, and then the deeper you go, some of that scary music starts playing and you're not sure what's around the next corner. um I'll do one more for you guys, and then after that you can go listen to as much as you want on my SoundCloud because it's all there. What do you want to hear? Exploration. Okay. um let's see. I could do a nighttime or I could do daytime. Okay, I know which nighttime song is the go-to, of course. This is one of my this is probably top 5 for me on the soundtrack. This next one. Yeah, it looks like links aren't working on live stream for some reason. Um or maybe it's just on mobile. I'm not sure, but you can just search my name anywhere on SoundCloud, YouTube, and my account should come up. Um, that's me in the chat right there. Just search my name, or if it'll let you click on my name if you're on desktop. I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't do that, but it looks like links don't work, and it looks like for some reason you can't click on someone's profile to go to it. Voyage into Space. That's old school. That's on YouTube and SoundCloud. All right, one more for you. This is hands down the most depressing piece of music I've ever written. So if you thought that last one was bad, this one's worse. All right, there's that. The plan is for that to be a night theme for right now. I'm planning the main town in the New North, but it might play everywhere. I'm not sure yet. We'll kind of see how it feels in game, but I think that's gonna do it for now. It's been over 2 hours. Um, I have all of that stuff is on my SoundCloud. Majority of it is on my YouTube. You can go to either of those. It looks like you can't click links for some reason. I don't know why. Um, I'll put it in the chat again that if if you want to listen to any of that stuff, you can just search my name in YouTube. I'm the only person with this name. My name's Eric Gordon Berg, and I put it in the chat so you can see how it's spelt. You can click on that and you can subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. This was a lot of fun, so thank you guys for hanging out, and thanks to Beyond Skyrim for letting me hijack their channel. Make sure you click the bell on this channel so that you know when their videos drop. You want to know because there's some exciting stuff coming up. So yeah, I think that's it for me. So thanks for watching, guys.